Very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashinsani Veer Singh. Let's have a look at the headlines for today. Prime Minister assures that Port City as well as the other development projects will be fully greener projects. World Bank advises Sri Lanka to pay special attention on the human capital development sector. News in detail. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the port city, which is being constructed by the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development under the supervision of Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka, will be a fully greener area where worth living in it. Premier Wickremesinghe made these remarks addressing the World Renewable Energy Conference, which was commenced this morning in Colombo.
We are a country which for over thousands of years depended on water, on hydraulic systems for our existence and for our economy. And we had the systems to safeguard the water sources. It is not so today. We are a country which started with hydroelectricity. When Vimala Surendra, the Sri Lankan engineer, proposed the first hydroelectric scheme, the colonial administrators laughed at it. But since it started in the 1950s until about 10 years back, we've depended to a large extent on hydroelectricity. Unfortunately, climate changes as well as the increase in demand for power means we have to shift out. We had our first coal powered station. We are now going in for 3 LNG power plants amongst others. But there's also a need to increase the renewable energy sources for Sri Lanka. At the end of the day, that the big city that we develop here will be a truly green city, something worth living. And you could see that many of the urban areas in Sri Lanka will also be the same.
Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Aryasinghe welcomes the proposal for the readmission of the Maldives to the Commonwealth family, restating that Sri Lanka fully supports the fast-track procedure previously applied in the readmission of Gambia to allow the Maldives to participate fully at the CHOGM 2020 in Rwanda. Meanwhile, Foreign Secretary also attended the Group 77 Foreign Ministers meeting held last Friday in New York, which addressed the diverse needs of countries in special situations such as least developed countries, landlocked developing countries and small island developing states. The Commonwealth Foreign Affairs Ministers meeting held in New York last Thursday on the sidelines of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly, chaired by Lord Ahmed of Wimbledon, Minister of State for the Commonwealth and the United Nations. Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Aryasinghe, addressing the meeting, noted as a close neighbour and a fellow South Asian nation, Sri Lanka appreciates strong bilateral ties with the Maldives, and it is gratifying that one of the primary initiatives embarked upon by the new Maldivian administration last year was to convey its intention to rejoin the Commonwealth. The Foreign Secretary noted that particularly given that the Commonwealth Secretariat had carried out a comprehensive assessment mission in the Maldives in January 2019, resulting in a positive outcome, any perceived obstacles to its re-entry should be seen as mere imperfections that afflict all countries from time to time. Foreign Secretary also attended the Group 77 Foreign Ministers meeting, and the issues which adversely affect economic and social development of countries that impact the ability to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals were discussed. Executive Director and Research Head of Verite Research, Dr. Nishan Dimel, highlights that Sri Lanka should refurbish its planning procedure from the current outdated one to an all-inclusive one that comprises political, economic, social, technological, environmental and legal aspects. He shared these observations at a forum titled Policy Dialogue on Importance of Efficient Energy Sector for Economic and Investment Growth, organized by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka in Colombo last Thursday.
And I think let's understand that at a more conceptual level, we have that problem. I think we misunderstand the problem of planning. We think that planning is simply an act of getting the technology mix right. But that's not planning. And that's a very Stone Age planning. We have this term in economics we call PESTLE. That means political, ecological, socio-cultural, technological, economic, and legal. All that is a part of planning. You have to consider the political feasibility, the ecological viability, the socio-cultural consequences. We consider the technology, and to some extent we consider economic, but actually we consider just finance, not economic. Because the planning that's done in Sri Lanka today is simply financial, it's not even economic. That is the social cost, the cost of pollution, the other costs that enter into society through the use of that technology is not planned. And economic planning is not only that, it's also demand-based planning. For instance, the plans that I see today in PUCSL that come to us don't have demand-based planning. But I think we need to revamp planning, make it a modern, sensible planning activity.
Dr. Nishan Dimel went on to state that regulators have the responsibility to serve the best interests of the people when it comes to the technical projects. He also noted that regulators should be devoid of political interests.
One of the structures that exist that make competition very difficult or markets very difficult to solve problems is also asymmetric information. That is that the consumer or the public doesn't have adequate information to hold the supplier accountable to what they're receiving. And the only way for the regulator to succeed is if it can break this problem of asymmetric information. Society doesn't have the information to know whether justice is being done. But the regulator is given special powers to access information, to ask for information, to evaluate information in a way that the whole of society cannot. And by being able to get that information, being able to evaluate that information, ask reasonable questions, the regulator solves the asymmetric information problem and the market problem and is able to actually ensure that social outcomes are achieved in the best possible way. The regulator has to be free of political interests also. As you all know, political interests are, elections come in 5-year cycles, political interests are not well aligned. So the regulator is in fact protected in our law from politics also. Not even the cabinet can demand or direct the regulator to do things that violate the law.
Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Addressing an awareness program held to mark the National Family Planning Day, which fell on last Thursday, 26th of September, Deputy Director General of Public Health Services, Dr. H.S.R. Pereira stresses that an effective national dialogue on family planning should be executed.
The choice that we make to have this number of children at this interval will have a direct effect on our happiness. So it's important that we understand that there are, and it is proven demographically, evidence shows that there are disparities in the uptake of these decisions due to disparities in the educational level and maybe certain other social disparities, and some communities which are more advanced in their knowledge and these professional uptakes and all of this will take these informed decisions much more than others. So we are seeing these disparities, and I think it is an important duty of the national program, and with the support of so many others, the civil society as well as the politicians, the respected politicians have a big role in this to keep this dialogue going and to ensure that the national program can provide the services where it's relevant.
The World Bank report titled Sri Lanka Human Capital Development Realizing the Promise and Potential of Human Capital advises Sri Lanka to pay special attention on human capital development from the twin perspectives of upper middle income growth and regional equity. It further notes greater resources and policy attention are needed for provinces where human capital is less advanced, while also making rapid improvements in human capital in the more advanced provinces. Accordingly, the report Sri Lanka Human Capital Development Realizing the Promise and Potential of Human Capital is part of the Human Capital Project, a global effort led by the World Bank since 2018 that recognizes the vital importance of human capital for a country's future. The project includes the Human Capital Index, which measures and forecasts the country's human capital through a child's life cycle from birth to adulthood. The report finds that in 2019, Sri Lanka performs moderately well globally with an overall score of 58% and a ranking of 74 out of the 157 countries. If current education and health conditions persist, a child born in Sri Lanka today will be about half as productive as he or she could have been had they enjoyed complete education and full health, the report notes. World Bank Country Director for Nepal, Sri Lanka and Maldives, Aida Zizwarai Ridihau notes people are the most valuable resource in any country and investing in people is smart economics. She also mentions that developing the human capital to a new and higher level will be key for Sri Lanka to become an upper middle income economy. Meanwhile, lead economist and program leader for human development for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Harsha Trupana, says that Sri Lanka needs to address human capital development from the twin perspectives of upper middle income growth and regional equity. Smartphone manufacturer Huawei unveiled its flagship featured smartphone, Huawei Nova 5T, in Colombo recently. The latest addition to the Nova family comes in three colors of crushed blue, black and midsummer purple. The Huawei Nova 5T has a striking feature of 3D effects on the flat surface of the black cover. The Huawei Nova 5T's enhanced technology acts as a superior photographic tool alongside its efficiency and convenient usage. The Huawei Nova 5T allows users to see clearer, capture closer and capture wider, as it features a rare 4-camera setup that comprises the main 48-megapixel lens, 16-megapixel ultra-wide angle, 2-megapixel macro and 2-megapixel bokeh lens. The front selfie camera integrated into the full-view screen features a 32-megapixel f2.0 lens that is housed in a punch hole at the top left of its display. The Nova 5T has 8 GB of RAM and built-in 128 GB storage alongside a 3750 mAh battery with supercharged support, and it is tested to charge up to 50% in approximately 30 minutes. The Nova 5T also houses its fingerprint sensor on the side at the power button for ultra-fast unlocking at an estimated 0.3 seconds. The latest diesel and motor engineering demo offering Mercedes-Benz A-Class sedan premiered in Sri Lanka recently at the Taste of Europe European Food Festival. The premiere of the A-Class heralds a new generation of sedans for the brand, incorporating MBUX infotainment system along with a host of other modern high-tech features in clear pitch to millennial luxury buyers. Featuring a 1.4-litre turbocharged engine with 163 horsepower and 7-speed automatic transmission, the new A-Class sedan is packed with the latest modern luxury features, offering Burmester sound system and wireless phone charging dock. The sedan also boasts a high level of safety, incorporating 7 airbags, state-of-the-art driving assistance and safety systems with Mercedes engineering and strenuous quality testing. Packed with other key Mercedes features, the A-Class incorporates keyless go hands-free access, panoramic sliding sunroof, memory seats, semi-automatic driving assistance and LED headlamps with integrated LED daytime running lamps.
We are launching the A-Class from the house of the inventor of the automobile. Mercedes-Benz had been the forerunner in technology, and today we are very happy to present one of the latest, the A-Class limousine, especially one of the most intelligent vehicles for the young people at a very affordable price. Of course, backed by Mercedes-Benz after-sales service.
Stay tuned for stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 33.45 points to close at 5,738.24, and the S&P SL 20 dropped 4.29 points to close at 2,759.72. The turnover was 770 million rupees and over 26 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all the news for today. Join us tomorrow at the same time. Until then, take care. Good night.